Okay, we're live. Good evening and welcome everyone. I'm just setting up things so I can see what I'm doing. And where are we? Ah, that's better. I can see myself there. And can I see myself on this side? Come on, that's better. Excellent. Okay, yeah, so good evening and welcome everyone. Hope you're well. I've got two subjects that I want to talk to you about rather, and discuss. The first one is related to Valentine's Day, and then the second one is a response to a question from a colleague, or from a friend actually, called Holly, who asked a really good question about hereditary and genetics in relation to alcoholism. First of all, just to let you know, my name is Paul and I help people get sober, stay sober and get control of their life. And if that is something that would be of interest to you, just put a yes in the comments box below, or more discreetly if you prefer, just send me a PM and I'll get to that once I finish the live tonight. So first of all, if I look away from the screen, I apologise, it's because I'm looking at my notes and other things I've got set up here. So yesterday was Valentine's Day, and I hope you had a nice evening and a nice day, and you got flowers and went out for a lovely meal, for those of you that are in couples and stuff, and it went really well. However, I read a lot of posts on my timeline and in the various groups that I belong to that were on a very, very similar theme, and that was quite simply, I live alone, I'm miserable, nobody loves me, I didn't get a Valentine's card, nobody called me out for a meal, and I hate this time of year, it reminds me of X, Y and Z. And that is really, really sad, particularly if you're alone. Now, there's one thing I want to make a real important point on. I choose to live alone. I have done for the past, 6.5 years now, give or take. And that was my choice, okay? And yeah, sometimes I get lonely, absolutely, particularly at weekends, and yeah, mainly weekends really, because I work pretty much 7 days a week now, but I still do get lonely. But I have, things in place to mitigate that, and I accept that as part of part of how my life is. But I get the impression that a lot of people don't do that and feel lonely because they are alone. So I've got this question for you, and the question is, have you chosen to live alone? Is your lifestyle, your life, your surroundings, your environment set up for you to live by yourself? And this is a really important question, because if you're feeling sad and lonely that you didn't get any Valentine's stuff, etc., then ask yourself this question: why not? Have you decided to live alone, and therefore, you've sort of kind of closed the world off to opportunities to meet with you and be with you and spend time with you? Or have you just said, no, I don't want to be alone? Well, in that case, what are you doing about it? There's no use, particularly if you've got a problem with drinking, staying at home, cracking up at a bottle of wine or a case of beer and going, oh, I feel sorry, oh, I hate myself, nobody loves me, and so on, okay? You have to get a grip. I'm sorry, but this tough love kind of thing. You've got to get a grip and say, okay, right, I want to, hey, Holly, how you doing? I want to have somebody in my life. So you then have to take action. Now, there's tons of things you can do. I spent the afternoon with a very dear friend of mine, and we were talking about this very theme. And she said something really important. She said, rather than trying to change everything in your life in one go, just pick one thing, one simple thing. For example, it's been proven that if you live in a mess, if you live in disruption and chaos and disarray, if your house is a mess, if it's dirty, it's full of garbage that you've not used in years, that subconsciously reflects back on you, and your brain and your mind and your thinking becomes a mess. So a very simple thing to do is to start clearing out the garbage, clearing out the clutter. In the UK, it's called decluttering. Declutter your apartment, your home, your space, and get it clean, get it tidy. My friend was saying that if you've got something in your house and you haven't used it in 6 months, get rid of it, unless it is something that is sentimental to you, like a piece of jewellery, or like an heirloom from the family, something like that, then of course keep it. But if you've got a box of stuff, yeah, that you have never ever used, well, not in the last 6 months or so, then why are you keeping it? Get rid of it. My problem has been books. Yeah, I mean, if you look around my apartment, every room has got books in it, okay? But I've slowly been getting rid of them. And there's a local charity shop that I frequent that just Oxfam it is, and all they do is books. So I buy books from them, and I used to just keep them. But what I do now is I buy them, and then I read them, and I take them back. Yeah, it is just so much easier. It just instantly declutters everything. And once you've done that, take a look at yourself. Particularly, now I'm a guide, yeah, so I can only go from personal experience and what other guys have talked to me about. Are you a mess? Okay, if you've got a beard, is it tidy and trimmed? You know, I mean, mine is deliberately trimmed and kept short and stuff like that. My hair is, it might look a mess to you, but to me it's tidy, okay? I shower or bath twice a day. I wear nice clothes. I've got some jewelry and stuff because that's how I want to present myself. This is how I feel comfortable. If you're looking slobby, if you're in a dirty old t-shirt, smelly old socks and tattered jeans, all this kind of stuff, again, reflects on your thinking. Go get a shower, go get a shave, get cleaned up. And you may be broke or you may be having a hard time, but we can still wash our clothes. We can still go to a thrift store and buy some new second-hand clothes. In the UK, there's a place called Primark, which sells clothing very, very cheaply, new clothing very, very cheaply. And it's a great place. I buy a lot of stuff from there, okay? So there's no real reason for you not to be well presented. And then get yourself out there. Go and meet people. Well, I'm shy, blah, 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 blah. I drink too much. We'll talk about that later on, okay? But first of all, get out there. Go talk to people. You know, go to the library. Talk to people in the library. There are lots of places you can go to where there's no booze, yeah? And you're not going to be tempted. Give me the name of a coffee shop. Starbucks. Starbucks, when I last checked, sells pretty crappy coffee in my view, but it doesn't sell alcohol, so you're safe. Go and have a coffee, go and talk. When you go and buy a coffee, talk to the person serving you. You know, say, hi, how's it going? Having a good day? Are you busy? Stuff like that. Short conversation. They will appreciate it. They're not being treated like an automaton. Yeah. And it helps you build confidence and helps you, you know, get out of yourself and learn to talk to other people. Just one thing. That's all you got to do. Just that one thing. And then when you're comfortable with that, pick something else and something else and something else. Okay. That's enough of that. I want to get on to the main subject for today. Excuse me, I've just got to check a couple of things. I got a great question from somebody who's now a friend of mine, I hope, a lady called Holly. And she said to me, in a video you did yesterday or the day before, you were saying that you believe that alcoholism isn't hereditary and isn't genetic. And I still stand by that. Now, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a doctor, okay? Let's get that up front straight away. But I've done a lot of research and I've done a lot of reading. And the problem we've got at the moment is that the genetics is a very, very young science. I mean, it was only, 1950 when they actually were able to separate DNA or discover DNA. That's less than 100 years ago. You know, it's only, 70 years ago? So it's still a very, very young science and they're still doing lots and lots of work. I want to read something to you. Excuse me if you hear a noise. My little Dago is deciding to build a nest, but never mind. This is from the NIAAA, the National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. And it says, recent research reports that 50 to 60% of the risk of alcoholism is genetically determined for both men and women. But genes alone do not preordain, and that's the word, preordain. Genes alone do not preordain that someone will be alcoholic. features in the environment along with the genetic or the gene environment interactions and blah, 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 okay? Now listen to this. The relationships between neurotransmitter genes and alcoholism are very, very complex. And however, not all studies have shown a direct connection between alcoholism risk and these genes. So even the scientists, the ones that are doing the research, spend their entire lives doing this, they're still not 100% certain that there is a definite link. My biggest fear, I mean, okay, if in 5 years' time they say, yeah, we've proved that there is a definite link between alcoholism and genes, genetics and all that kind of thing, my biggest risk is this, is that people then start to use it as an excuse. Oh, you know, well, it's in my genes, so I'm an alcoholic, so I'm just going to drink and not do anything. This is from another piece of research that I found that agreed with the first part, but it says, it's not an excuse. This is not to say that alcohol abuse can be justified by your parents having drank, as an example. Human beings have powerful minds, and the choice is always ours. Justifying alcohol abuse with genetic predisposition is unacceptable, and I completely agree. It is unacceptable, okay? However, genetically speaking, exactly how much of that choice is yours becomes complicated. Alcoholism is a disease, yes, but it happens to be one of the only diseases you can fully prevent with healthy decisions. And I'm going to read that again. Alcoholism is a disease, yes, but it can only happen it only happens to be the one single disease that you can fully prevent with healthy decisions. Cancer and other stuff like that, you can try and prevent it, but if you get it, you get it. There's not a lot you can do to stop getting it. But alcoholism, you can prevent it. You make healthy choices, you can take action, you can stop it. So that was the main thrust of my argument, yeah? That, okay, there is some evidence to suggest that some people might have a predisposition, okay, but it's not genetically preordained. Just because you have this gene doesn't make you an alcoholic, doesn't mean that you are forced to go to the pub and buy a skin load of alcohol, as an example, yeah? Or go down to your local store and buy a case of beer. This gene doesn't make you do that, okay? The decision is still up here. And that's the important thing that you need to remember. We still have the power to change this. And there's lots of different ways you can get help. There's rehab, there's the AA, there are people like me, there are therapists, there's CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. There's a whole world of people out there that want to help you and that can help you and have demonstrated their success in helping people get sober and stay sober. So this is the point that I want to put across, okay? Yes, there is some evidence, but no, I do not believe that anybody is preordained or destined or finger marked to become an alcoholic. It's just, at the moment, it's just not in the science, it's just not in the data at all in any way, shape or form. Okay, so that's enough from me. Does anybody have any comments or questions they'd like to make about what I've just talked on, or discussed rather? Hi Kelly, by the way. Okay, well, it looks like at the minute there's no question. So I would need a favour. I need your help. If you know anyone that has a challenge with alcohol, maybe they're on day one after having several day ones, maybe you know that they've got a problem and they haven't actually recognised it yet, pass them on to me, okay? You can tag them in this post or be more discreet if you wish, or if you need to. You can just tell them to PM me or send me a friend's request. I'm also on LinkedIn as well, so I'm all over the place. We can help people, we can help change people's lives, but it takes us to make that first step and to be brave enough to say, hey Paul, you've got a problem. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't have known that I'd had a problem as well. And if somebody sort of pointed it out to me, I didn't recognize it. Yeah, my life could have gone down a completely different path if somebody hadn't said to me, Paul, you need to sort yourself out, mate. Okay, so be the one that has the compassion and the guts and the bravery, yeah, to say to someone, you know, not you have to shout it out from the rooftops, but you know, you take them gently to one side and just say, you know, go see Paul, or go and talk to somebody, or do you know you've got a problem? Yeah, please, 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 you know, help yourself if you've got a problem. Make the decision to quit. Find that one abiding reason that will help you quit, okay? And then just go for it and get the help you need. Okay, I think that is everything I wanted to cover for now. So, oh yes. I've got something for you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, and I'm going to be doing another live at 8 o'clock my time, and the subject is going to be one of my favourite subjects, and it's going to be sex, or rather the lack of it when there's booze involved. So tune in tomorrow, 8 o'clock, and we'll have a bit of a giggle with a serious side to it as well on that subject. So have a lovely morning, afternoon, evening. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.